There was a man named Michael, who often wondered if his life really mattered. He worked hard at his job. He provided for his family. He tried to be a good person. But deep inside, he felt ordinary, like nothing he did would ever make a lasting difference. One evening, after a long and draining day, Michael sat quietly with his Bible open, but his heart restless. He whispered, "Lord, I want my life to matter. I don't want to just go through the motions day after day. How can I live for you in a way that truly counts?" In the stillness of that moment, Michael felt the Lord speak gently to his heart. "My son, an extraordinary life is not about doing great things for yourself. It is about doing ordinary things with me and for me. Raise your children for me. Love your wife with my love. Let your attitude reflect my joy. Invite me into everything you do, and you will see your life shine with purpose." Those words sank deep into Michael's spirit. He realized he didn't need a stage. He didn't need a spotlight. He didn't need recognition to live a meaningful life. His kitchen table could become an altar when he prayed with his children. His workplace could become a mission field when he treated people with kindness and integrity. Even his struggles could glorify God when he chose to trust instead of complain. Michael also learned something powerful about God's heart. The Lord reminded him, "No matter how many times you failed, I will give you another chance, and another, and another. My mercy is new every morning, if you will simply be serious about your walk with me." This gave Michael hope. He remembered the times he had quit too soon, the times he had doubted too quickly, but now he realized God wasn't finished with him yet. God still had a plan, a future filled with hope. The Lord also showed him that faith is not always logical. Sometimes God places something in your heart that makes no sense at all. A dream that feels impossible, a calling that feels too big, a step of faith that feels risky. But Michael learned this truth: if God speaks, it is not for him to figure out. It is for him to trust and obey. So Michael began taking small steps. At first, they felt like baby steps, sharing his faith quietly with a friend, volunteering at his church even when he felt unqualified, starting a small project that God had placed on his heart. And though progress was slow, each step built courage, each step built faith, each step built strength. Over time, those baby steps turned into bigger steps. What once seemed impossible now felt within reach. And eventually, Michael realized he was no longer crawling in faith. He was running full speed ahead with God, doing things he never thought he could do. His life became a living testimony that ordinary people, when surrendered to God, can live extraordinary lives. Michael would often tell others, "If you're praying for something and it hasn't happened yet, don't give up. If God put it in your heart, He will bring it to pass in His time. And if He redirects you, it's because His way is better than yours." Don't be afraid to believe for the impossible, because that's where miracles are born. And so Michael's story reminds us all, your life matters when it's placed in God's hands. What seems small becomes sacred. What seems ordinary becomes extraordinary. And what seems impossible becomes possible, because with God, nothing is ever wasted. There was a woman named Hannah who prayed with all her heart every single day. She prayed for her family. She prayed for healing. She prayed for the dreams that God had placed deep within her. And yet, for so long, nothing seemed to change. The more she prayed, the more it felt like her words just vanished into silence. One evening, weary and discouraged, Hannah sat by her window with tears in her eyes. She whispered, "Lord, I have prayed again and again, yet nothing has happened. Did you hear me at all? Am I wasting my time believing for something that may never come?" In the stillness of that night, God reminded her of a powerful truth. "My daughter, the moment you pray, the tide of the battle begins to turn. Just because you don't see anything happening on the outside doesn't mean I'm not at work on the inside. Behind the scenes, I have already set your miracle into motion. You prayed, and I heard. You prayed, and I moved. You prayed. prayed, and I began shifting things in ways you cannot yet see." Those words pierced Hannah's heart like a light breaking through the dark. She suddenly realized that faith is not about what she sees with her eyes, it's about what she believes with her spirit. Even when nothing looks different, God is still faithful. Even when the silence feels heavy, God is still speaking through his promises. Hannah remembered what the psalmist once said, "Each morning, I bring my request before the Lord and wait expectantly." That word expectantly struck her soul. She realized that prayer was not just a duty, it was a declaration of trust. When she prayed, she was not speaking into emptiness. She was speaking to the very creator of the universe, the one who bends down to listen to his children. From that day forward, Hannah began to pray differently. Instead of praying with doubt, she prayed with expectation. Instead of saying, "Maybe God will do it," she declared, "God is already working on it." Instead of rehearsing her fears, she began rehearsing God's promises. When discouraging thoughts whispered, "It's not working, you'll never see change," Hannah answered back boldly. When fear told her, "The sickness is too strong, the report is too final, the addiction is too deep," Hannah declared, "My God is greater than any sickness. My God is stronger than any addiction. My God is faithful to finish what he started." Slowly, her heart began to shift from despair to hope. She found herself waking up with new strength, with fresh expectation. Each morning she prayed and then went through her day, looking for signs of God's goodness. She started speaking words of victory instead of defeat. She stopped saying, "It will never happen," and started saying, "Today could be the day my miracle comes." Like David, "Today my miracle comes." Standing before Goliath, Hannah chose to see through the eyes of faith. Instead of focusing on how big the giant was, she focused on how much bigger her God is. She remembered David's words, "This day the Lord will give you into my hands." And that same bold faith rose up in her spirit, unshaken, unmovable, unstoppable. And then, little by little, things began to shift. A door opened that she thought was permanently closed. A relationship was restored that she thought was beyond repair. A healing began that she thought was impossible. Through it all, Hannah realized that God had been working the entire time. She just couldn't see it until his perfect timing was revealed. Her story became a living testimony to all who heard it. The moment you pray, heaven moves. The moment you pray, chains begin to break. The moment you pray, God's hand goes to work in ways far beyond your understanding. And so Hannah's life reminds us all, keep praying, believing, keep expecting, don't give up just because you don't see results right away. Because the silence is not absence, and the waiting is not wasted. He's arranging people, opening doors, and preparing miracles that will come at just the right time. Because what God has promised, he will surely bring to pass. There was a man named David who often prayed for God's favor. He believed that surely goodness and mercy would follow him all the days of his life. Yet there were moments when doubt whispered to his heart. He looked at his circumstances, his empty bank account, his health struggles, and the closed doors before him, and wondered, "Lord, is your favor really with me?" One evening, weary from disappointment, David sat quietly and prayed again. "Father, I know I've prayed, but why does nothing seem to change? Why do the forces against me look stronger than the promises I'm holding on to?" In that moment of honesty, God's gentle whisper filled his spirit. "My son, the forces that are for you are greater than the forces against you. It's not enough to pray, you must expect me to move. You prayed according to my will, and I not only heard you, I dispatched the answer. The miracle is already in motion, even if you cannot see it yet." Those words lit a spark of faith inside of David. He realized that expectancy is part of faith. Prayer plants the seed, but expectation waters it until it grows. He understood now that faith is not saying, maybe God will do it, but declaring, I know my God is faithful, and he is already working on my behalf. From that day on, David began to live with a new confidence. He woke each morning, declaring, goodness and mercy follow me everywhere I go. When doubt tried to whisper, it's not going to happen, he replied, the moment I prayed, heaven moved. The answer is already on its way. God also reminded him, what I bring into your life may not look like what you expected. It may not arrive the way you imagined, but it will be bigger, better, and more rewarding than anything you could dream. David thought about the boy who defeated Goliath with a simple slingshot. He didn't have armor, he didn't have training, he didn't have experience, but he had the favor of God. And one slingshot with God's favor was stronger than an entire army without it. That truth became a shield in David's own battles. He no longer feared being unequipped, because he knew God's favor was his greatest weapon. So David stopped trying to figure out how God would do it. The scripture echoed in his heart, lean not on your own understanding. He realized the more he tried to calculate and predict, the more he felt confused. But the moment he let go, peace filled his heart. Day after day, David walked in expectancy. He began thanking God. Before the answer came, he stopped saying, it will never happen, and started declaring, my miracle is already on the way. Even when the medical report wasn't good, he said, God is my healer. Even when finances looked low, he declared, God is my provider. Even when doors stayed shut, he believed, God will open doors no man can shut. And slowly, things began to shift. A job opportunity appeared that he never applied for. A health report improved in ways doctors couldn't explain. A relationship healed that seemed broken beyond repair. And through it all, David saw God's hand working in ways far greater than he ever imagined. His story became a powerful testimony to others. He would say, this is not for people who doubt. It's for those who believe. It's for those who know God is in control. The moment you pray, the miracle is set into motion. The angels are already on the way. And at the right time, you will see your healing, your breakthrough, your promotion, your victory. David's life declared this truth. God's favor cannot be boxed in. His ways are higher, his timing is perfect, and his plans are greater than we could ever dream. And so his story reminds us, don't just pray, pray with expectation. Don't just ask, believe it is already done. Because with God, what is impossible for man? Because with God, what is impossible is only the beginning of his miracle-working power.